Welcome to the Brahma Kumaris, where a new world is opened up for you. From humble beginnings in India in 1936 to a global organization with over 8,000 centers in 110 countries and 1 million students worldwide. Through their tireless commitment, passionate heart, and determined spirit, the Brahma Kumaris arrived in America in 1974 and have since grown to 35 main centers throughout America. There are also 2 residential retreat centers, Peace Village, located in upstate New York, and Anubhuti, located in Novato, California.
I want to just share a little bit about how the centers of Raj Yoga meditation began in United States. Actually, I was in Caribbean islands and I got invitation from New York that we want to start something about meditation. And it was in 1978 I came here and we rented a very small apartment in Astoria. And from there I found that a lot of people have interest. I realized that there is so much need, and from there onwards then centers started in many other states.
Our centers are safe spaces where you can explore the power of your inner world.
The classes are conducted in many homes, many cities all over across the United States. A lot of people, they learn meditation, they use it, that meditation at their workplace, in their family, and also I find that children, young adults, because they are so much into what really is the life about.
The Brahma Kumaris are dedicated to personal and global transformation through the study and spiritual practice of Raj Yoga meditation. And at the heart of our teaching is the belief that the pathway to peace and happiness is to remember our original nature as spiritual beings, connected to the One Source. In 1981, the organization received recognition as an international non-governmental organization affiliated with the United Nations and accredited with general consultative status with the Economic and Social Council. From organizing large-scale global initiatives to local community programs, the Brahma Kumaris has a tradition of service in every field that fosters spiritual growth among individuals from all backgrounds, cultures, and walks of life.
I hold on to this vision, the world of love, world of peace and harmony, world which is free from conflict and sorrow, where we can live as brothers, one family, children of common parents, one supreme divine power.
This is your invitation to awaken and join us in creating a world of love, peace, and kindness. Om Shanti. Shanti, everyone. Good evening and welcome to your spiritual vaccine hour. I liked looking over those quotes today. A little bit fast, but sometimes you're amazed at what comes out of you. You know, the thoughts or the questions or the feelings that are swirling inside of your consciousness, and it's important to really keep writing down your thoughts. It's such a big process of our healing and our ability to understand ourselves a lot more. One of the reasons why there's such complexities in the world is that many of us actually don't quite know why we're here. We have no idea why we're here, and it's not just about making money, and it's not just about getting married and having kids and having a house with white picket fence and a dog. There's so much more to this. It's about, see if I can find the right words. It's about coming from a place inside of you that is so in tune with the universe. And as a result of that, there are just no limits to who you are. There are absolutely no limits to what you can do, the things that you can experience, the way you can see the world through your eyes. We can look through our eyes and see, you know, a man, a woman, a tree, you know, I don't know, the ocean. But let's take a tree, for example. How many of you have looked at a tree and thought about the one seed that grew that tree? There's not two seeds that grow a tree. It's one. How many of you do that? And I think that's where when we meditate and do our spiritual work on ourselves, when we bypass the gender and the color of the skin and the clothes that you wear and the way your face looks and how much money's falling out of your pocket, and you go to the soul, you go to the seed. And you start to really look at the character and the real purpose of this soul's existence. You can complain all you want about somebody's behavior, but did you get to the seed? Like, what is the potential in that seed? Because many of us are so stuck in a particular vibration frequency that either is imposed on me because of the way people see me, so it's very hard for me to break my shell of what I'm feeling from you, or it could be that it's just my own creation. You know, I have certain limits about myself, period, and so I'll attract certain people in my life to confirm those limits, or maybe I won't, and maybe I'll have the most optimistic people in my life, but I'm still limited. So it's all about the seed. It's about the soul. What's actually recorded inside of you, the soul? You know, do you have this firm faith and belief that your life and your existence is to be lived? You know, breath is what goes into the body and it gives you life. It's spirituality. It's to breathe. It's to breathe. And many of us tend to breathe in a short-term way. In other words, we look at situations, circumstances, people, relationships, not with the depth of, well, what's in the seed of the matter here? What's at the core of this situation? And how do I assert myself in this particular scene in my life? And today we're looking at assertiveness, and sometimes on a cultural level, some might say those in America are very confident, or sometimes folks will say that I hear this because I've been to over 95 countries, but some people will say, people in the West or in America, they're confident, they're extroverted, they love to have fun because of what they've seen on television. Half of the world thinks America is Los Angeles and New York, by the way. And that isn't what America is about. At least that's not real America. It's a part of it, but it's not real America. And what a lot of the media that goes out of the United States that hits the rest of the whole world, 80% of the media is disseminated right here from this land. And people are interpreting America based on what comes out. And I find that quite fascinating, that so many people believe that we should look like the Kardashians, or we should be like what New Yorkers are, strong, tough, resilient. A lot of people are picking up their interpretation of America just based especially on those two states. And then you've got like Chicago, then you've got Texas. But very rare you'll see a television show about Idaho or Utah or even Wisconsin. You don't hear a lot of movies about stuff that happens in that part of the world. At least you don't hear stories that go out. So their impression of America is that we're very assertive naturally. So then you sometimes go to India, right, for example, and I'll talk to young girls or even some guys, and they seem to be what you might say a little bit on the timid side, or something that I hear a lot from many Indian young girls, especially the sisters in the Brahma Kumaris in India. They'll ask me, "Oh, Sister Jenna, can you, you're so confident. Tell me how you do this." Or they'll ask me like, "Gosh, you just so speak your mind. You're like this, you're like that." And I know it's a cultural thing. I remember one day a guy told me at lunch, and he looked at me as we were having lunch together in India. He says, "I wish I had your courage." And I sat there for a moment and I thought, but I'm sure he does, because he seems to be pretty much engaged in a lot of the activities of the organization. And when he told me that, I was a little perplexed. I wish I had your courage. And weeks had passed. That thought came to my mind. What did he mean? And then when I first recall coming to Washington, D.C., I remembered I was teaching a student who had an extremely powerful position at the White House. And Daddy Janki had come to visit. And he met with Daddy Janki, who is our spiritual mentor and my spiritual heart that passed away on March 27th of this year. And he asked Daddy, and he says, "Daddy, she's so courageous to be in an area like this." And Daddy responded to him and said, "It's her silence." And I thought, well, I'm not like physically very quiet, like my mouth isn't always on the closed side because I'm always sharing something or talking to somebody. But then weeks will pass and I got it. Is that I'm silent up here in terms of my mental capacity. And so I don't carry a lot, not to say that I don't have it, I do at times, but I don't carry that fear or insecurity, especially when it comes on to service for mankind. I don't bring that insecurity when I know that I'm being used to uplift the life of another person. It's not even a question. So I think for those of us who can practice assertiveness, I think it's important for you to get out of your own way and look at what's the benefit in me pushing forward and not really being afraid to say what I'm about to say to a person. But there's an art in how to communicate to someone, especially when you're not agreeing with their behavior or their choice. That doesn't always come out perfect all the time. But we can definitely try to practice it some of the times. And if we can apply the ability to be more observant and to choose our battles, then our assertiveness won't seem so aggressive and so emotionally driven, but it will come from a place of self-confidence and sort of a belief system that what this person is saying, they really mean it. You know, they're coming from that real place of experience and that place of conviction. Disclaimer here, every one of us is doing the best that we can. And there's no room that we couldn't improve. We know we can improve. We know there's room for improvement. And that's why we would tune to a program like this, because I could be emptying out the energy in my spirit and listening to garbage or watching garbage, or I could try to push myself just a little bit further. Have you ever worked out in the gym or done exercises at home or went running, or it was just that little bit like you go, I can't go any further, but you persevere anyway, and you go, I just have 2 more minutes, let me just do it, and you just put that thought in and you make it. It's similar when you have to be assertive in a situation. It's like you feel like, I can't go this mile with this person, I can't say what I need to say, I can't ask for what I need. And it's just that one thought to give you that extra mile of courage to say, you know what? I believe in this thing. And I'm going to ask. And the worst thing that can happen to me, I get a no. Or I can actually say, I don't know if I really care for what you just said or told me because it has hurt my feeling. And you can allow yourself to be very vulnerable or very normal or very average, but at least your heart will be clean and open. And I've seen that when you speak from a place of experience and authenticity, no one has any power over you. Nobody. Because you're coming from that genuine and truthful place, which is absolutely essential. Absolutely. So, how do we practice assertiveness? Always think that extra little mile is all you have to do. That extra little thought. And to do it without the fear of, I know, or the fear of being attacked, or the fear of not being liked. That's such a big disease. More so in developing countries. There's this disease in which you might feel like, I have to be liked, and you keep saying yes. You've seen me do this little thing about in India, you know, that thing, yes, no. Because again, there's a cultural understanding that the most important thing in the world is to have good relationships. And when those relationships aren't so good, it's like, they would claim like it's a curse. I've had, I would say like a handful out of relationships that really matter to me. And when they don't feel like they're serving me and I'm getting blessings from them, I tell you, every time my thoughts go to that relationship, not only do I not feel assertive, but I feel like a victim. Because in that relationship, I somehow feel like I need something from that person to fulfill something within me. And in reality, I need that something from myself. And when I can fulfill that energy in myself, I am able to stand more truthfully in how I wish to express myself. Mm-hmm. Did that make any sense at all? Santo? Because I'm thinking that as we move into the evening, I've been asking about this whole thing of us pausing a little bit more and taking some time for reflection and just stillness and silence. And I'd like you to just try it, just even for a little bit, where look back at your life just for a little. And Santosh will come up with the meditations shortly. But let's take just a few moments, okay? And I know this won't be hard to do, but can you recall a particular moment in your life where you really wanted to have spoken your mind? You really wanted to speak up about something, but you chose the quiet route. And you walked away feeling really upset with yourself that you didn't say what you wanted to say, and with dignity. I'm not talking about the assertiveness that has a whole bunch of emotions in it and you're all teary-eyed and one minute you're laughing, next minute you're crying, or, things are just happening with you. I'm talking about when somebody did something out of character and you kind of felt like, I don't know if I really appreciated what you just said to me, but I'm going to leave you to think about that, and I'm going to walk away knowing that I needed to check, that I can't make anything outside of me more powerful than what I am on the end. That's assertiveness. When it really has the balance and the power of that sense of authenticity and integrity. Nobody can quieten you when you need to speak truth to power. So many people who are bullies and speak lies are brazenly being assertive. And I've seen it. And I've sometimes even asked, when there's somebody with a lot of authority, and maybe they even speak to you without that respect, how does that make you feel? And that even if you spoke up, they could fire you, they could defame you, they could not talk to you for a whole week in the house. Maybe they'll throw the food on the table at night, because they're so angry that you were insubordinate. Or you called them out on their limits and their ego was too thick to accept it. But I've seen too many people whose intention and energy are so vile, but we give them permission to stay assertive while we stay quiet and feel victimized. What is the answer to that? I'm going to leave you to ponder on that as we go into a meditation. But think on it.
When I think of relationships, many people come to mind. But just for a few moments now, I'm going to focus on one particular relationship, and that is the relationship that I have with myself. It's good to take time every so often to be alone with myself, to have a little solitude. To understand what I've been thinking and feeling lately. The basis for successful relationships is always respect. And I need to check every once in a while that I have self-respect. So I look deep into the mirror of my heart. However I'm feeling about myself will definitely reflect in the way I treat others. What challenges my self-respect? And what thoughts can I now introduce that will seat me firmly on my own throne of self-respect? I let go of past hurts or disappointments, and I see myself as someone who's trying their very best. And I focus on those aspects of my personality which can feed my self-respect. Take some time now self-respect.
So, welcome back, and think about what we just went through just for this moment, where we have to check ourselves to what extent did I need to speak up when instead I stayed quiet. And I think it's safe to say that there are times that we speak up with the best of intentions, and yet it seems as if it hurt the person's feelings, but we didn't mean it that way. And I was talking to Santosh when we were in the pausing just now. I says, what if you do speak up and it has hurt the other person's feelings? And the answer was, as long as when you speak up, you are pretty clear that your motives are definitely very clear. I'm not here to hurt you. And I think in order for us to really refine what our motives would be, you really have to observe, how have you been living, period? And have you been really living an intentional life yourself? Because if I'm not living an intentional life, I can't really discern if what I'm saying to you is genuinely pure for your well-being, or if it's still something I want for myself. I mean, I give you the example with Sister Gita here, that sometimes she can't help being who she is, and she's actually more genuinely being who she needs to be. And if I get a little flustered and I say something to her, she won't even hear it. Like Santosh and I have to say something 10 times, and after the 5th time, our tone is getting higher. And the virtues, they are leaving our personality and our consciousness. And then I can even hear and feel like when I'm speaking to her, this isn't right, because I have too much respect for my elders. But I can feel like, no, and you know what? She doesn't feel it. She doesn't, at least it doesn't seem that she even responds to it. She's like, well, what? That's what she'll say. Huh? You know what I mean? Like nothing bothers her. And then we get flustered by speaking up and being assertive to say, no, yes, no, don't go there. Don't. What has that been teaching me? I have learned that until our vibrations have reached an incredibly, and what I say is high, I want you to interpret your original state. So until your vibrations have moved forward into its original vibrational frequency, we might have to still be assertive and still try to sort it out. Did I just mean what I said? Or should I have just kept my lip quiet? But one thing I know for sure, and Linda, I want to answer your question, and very nice of you to be tuning in tonight. Hello, and Om Shanti to you, my sweet sister. That the energy of even the fear to speak up and be assertive to someone, what the soul will receive sometimes is not what I've said, but is the energy in which I said it in. So if I had a push and pull, which is where fear lives, and that's the energy that I came from when I was assertive with the person, they're going to feel something. And if they don't, I certainly did. And by getting too used to that way of being assertive, that's not healthy. You'll run into too many complexities in your relationships. People are always seeking somebody to be very thoughtful, very sweet, very honest, and very kind in their expressions. And yet, what I have observed, people don't do much until they're bullied. Until you come to them tough and strong and arrogant, there's still something I'm sorting through. People don't really move and get awakened and be inspired and push forward until somebody comes with a nasty behavior, a bullish mentality, somebody who tries to be a dictator over you, somebody who tries to use some totalitarian means with you. Then I see people wake up, and then people will even start to get more assertive. And I'll look back and go, all those years of giving love, you didn't become assertive? So I want you to know that even sometimes when you are assertive and you say something to someone, and it creates that ripple effect in their hearts, and they might claim that they're being hurt, I've come to realize there might be some hidden benefit in that too. There's a hidden benefit in it for them. There's a hidden benefit in it for me. And I'm sorting myself out any time, at any cost. If you lose your peace, if you're being assertive, it's not being assertive. It's called fair. Anytime. If there is no peace in me saying, hey, can I tell you, I would prefer if you didn't do this. That's different. That's peace with authority. But if it's like, hey, how many times am I going to don't do this? That's fear. I'm out of control. I'm not rooted in who I am. I don't know who I am. I'm losing it. And you, or the situation, or the circumstance, I have without even knowing it. I've made it more powerful than me. I've made the situation, what the person did or didn't do, more powerful than my ability to think and respond with my dignity and with peace. And I find that the most fascinating thing. So let's go to the line and see if anyone has any questions they'd like to ask. An interesting dialogue, because so many of us tend to be really cautious, especially when the person has an authority figure over you, and they're trying to suppress your expression of self. One of the things that I'm observing in my country is that you're almost afraid to speak the truth, and maybe there's a balancing thing coming out of this. And maybe we've abused our sense of freedom, or maybe we have abused our democracy, that we're now being tested to see, do you really believe in democracy? Have you been really living a democratic lifestyle, or are you just all about yourself? And people who are into, power games, and people who want to oppress people are really always just about themselves. They don't think about the collective. They don't think about the whole. So I would like to recommend that when I choose to be assertive, that I do think of the bigger picture. I do think beyond just me. I do practice to see if I'm coming from a rooted place of peace, so that the person feels that what I'm saying, I mean this. It's really coming without the intention to give you the suffering and the pain that I'm feeling as a result of your choice or your behavior. And that's what I love about this particular time during this pandemic. We are in a particular period of learning so much about who we are and how we can show up. So I just wanted to share that. Any questions at all for anyone tonight, from anyone that you would like to explore? Because it is, a lot of us wish to be assertive. We feel a sense of limitation. We feel not heard. We feel not seen. We feel insecure when we can't speak our minds. And I think there needs to be a practice in that too, because we don't always have our thoughts clear in our heads anyway. A lot of times when we speak our mind, it comes from an emotion. And I do highly request, before you do say things or make decisions, don't let them come from a place of emotion. You will regret it. Because the energy of that emotion is what will give you the return, not what you said. It's that energy. It's mystical, but it's powerful. It has a great deal of depth. All right, well, Kiran, you can always rewind it and get it back at the beginning when it's over. You're most welcome to do that. Linda, I hope I answered your question on Facebook, because we can definitely, think about, I don't want to hurt that person, and yet it happens. Please tell me, as you listen to even our sessions in the evenings, and you look at your relationships, how much of you are you really sharing in that relationship? And I mean the real you. Not the you that has a desire or an expectation. Not that you. That's not the real you. Not the you that somehow has a regret, shame, guilt, or maybe even a dislike or hatred or an anger. Not that. That's not you. How many of you are really bringing the real you into your relationships? How much are you really being assertive enough to bring your real personality, the real you, into your marriage, into your friendships, into your partners, and with your children, even with your business partners? Have you been bringing the fear modality, the desire, the expectations? And I really ask you to think about that. Because you and I will never be authentic enough to be assertive with dignity if it's not even coming from the real me. Either I'll be too afraid to speak my mind, and I've definitely been there, or I'll be too bold because I'm too scared to speak my mind. And in between these two would be the perfect balance of being assertive. And I've been there for sure. That I don't care for that. No, thank you. I'm okay. There's an energy that transpires between people. And when you're in front of a particular person, or when you think of a particular person as you're texting them, or when you're on the phone and you're talking to that particular person, your understanding or impression that you have formed in your mind about that person, or even what you are thinking about yourself in relation to that person, if it's coming from some sense of not knowing who you really are, the soul, immortal, eternal, imperishable, and pure, I'm not giving myself completely. And tonight, why this conversation is so important is that we do need to be more assertive in bringing the true sense of ourselves forward. We're not letting that part of who we are truly shine enough. We're either getting influenced by what we see in the stories in the media. You might see a superhero and you're like, yeah, I want to be just like that superhero, but you're still having waste thoughts. A superhero can have waste thoughts. They only think about how they're going to overcome the situation, right? So when I'm being assertive, I'm telling you that I know it comes from really doing the work inside of yourself to see, have I reached a particular place inside of my heart that I really accept myself for who I am, but with this idea and with this interpretation that there's a lot more to me, and I don't need to be afraid of anything because there's so much more to me. And that fear will only be fed because there's something limited in the way I see myself or even in the other person. And why we have to do more meditation and why we have to practice more inner stillness and more solitude is that that energy will break through the walls of limits that are sitting somewhere in our subconscious. I believe that with my whole heart and soul. So why don't we do a little bit of a introspection and a little reflection again, because I think we really are wanting, especially with us still being a little bit more at home than we are accustomed to being, but really ask, who am I? There's a saying in Hindi, "Main kaun?" Who am I? Who am I? And who do I need to be in this marriage? How do I want to be with these children? How do I want to be with my in-laws or my roommates? And here can be the biggest test paper, is if you're living alone, it can be a little bit harder to really see yourself because there isn't an energy bouncing back from you to give you a mirror to look into. But then ask, how am I feeling? And just from that first thought, start to do the work. Let's go into a little meditation.
Om Shanti. I am Om. I am the soul, the conscient light, the living spark. I am Shanti. I am peace. Om Shanti. My existence is peace. My nature is peace. I am at peace with myself. I am at peace with God. I am at peace with my brothers and my sisters in this huge, unlimited family of humankind. My form is light. My religion is peace. To be is to be at peace. All questions are answered by the state of peace. I sit here in this physical body, moving through time and space with ease. My thoughts are peaceful. My words are calm. My acts are non-violent. My enemy is anger. My friend is the ocean of peace. From my seat of peace, internalized and with my inner eye focused on my soul at peace, I begin my journey. My silent, secret flight upwards, outwards, far beyond the material world of time and motion. I fly the silent rocket of my mind out beyond the cosmos into the dimension of light, the abode of peace. My home is peace. My world is uninterrupted silence, vast and all-encompassing quiet. I am alone. I am at peace. Within the great world of silence, I am at the shore of the ocean of peace. I am the child of the ocean, and I enter into the ocean smoothly, easily, like a bird gliding on a current, and I move to the center of the ocean. I touch the point of light of the ocean of peace, and I become totally still. I am silent. The emanations at the center also pass through me, and I am charged with the great power of silence. I also feel I am radiating beams of silence. I am still, steady, balanced in peace. From this place of peace, I turn my attention to the earth and to all the acts, all the people, all the events and all possibilities, and I find I am completely detached. I see the cause and the result of each act, each circumstance, and yet I stay beyond it. I am not involved. I am free. I am the watcher, dispassionate, seeing everything clearly. I am the observer. I am peace. Each good thing, each bad thing, each act of charity and malevolence done by each person, even my own good acts, I watch and I let each one go. Each thing passes from the present into the past, and as it does so, I let it go, keeping my attention on the now. I watch the now, yet I am detached. I see the past, the now, and the future. I see the scheme of things, the natural flow of destiny, and I remain uninvolved, free, detached, yet full of love, care, and compassion for my family, the whole world. I see from beyond. I am with God. I am with the ocean of peace, and I see from that place all things passing, and I stay peaceful with the ocean.
I love that meditation by Sister Denise. She's at our Navato retreat center on the Buddhi. I'm really appreciating the questions, and Yolanda, about the saying that it's better to just not say anything. It depends. It really depends. And we grow into our wisdom based on, again, it's the temperament that we say something with. It's the energy in which we carry that's naturally bringing forth the response or the reaction. Okay? And each time we get the reaction, it will also create a ripple effect in your feeling vibration to see, could I have done that better? Could I have said it better? Was I coming from a place where my motives were mixed, which means the push and pull? There's still something that I want in this. And remember, one of the biggest factors in developing mistrust or a lack of trust in relationships is to want something from someone. When you're actually with a person and you sense intuitively they don't really want anything from you, a different part of you will show up. But when you sense somebody wants something from you, I don't know, there's always a feeling like, do I trust this? Because when somebody wants something, there's a motive. Of course you can want to be driven. Of course you can want to be inspired. Of course somebody can be with you to be inspired. But if it's that they want what you have, then you won't feel a sense of trust. But we're talking about assertiveness, which is a little bit of a different topic, but it's part of that, because if you don't trust whatever's coming out of you, you won't speak up. So yes, sometimes it's better to leave things unsaid. That's right, Yolanda. If you don't feel secure enough inside of yourself, don't say a word. It's going to backfire. It's going to get uglier. What I do sometimes when I don't have the strength to speak up, write it. Write what you wanted to say on paper. At least let it out of your system. It will help. So what does energy exactly mean? Rakshit, I mentioned that earlier. Energy comes from thoughts. And so whatever are your thoughts, it carries an energy. Now, the mystical aspect to a thought is for you to determine, is this coming from a pure place of intent, which means it is solely benevolent. I'm only here to be benevolent with you. Or is it coming from, I more want something from you in order to give back? So that energy will feel like something's not completely kosher here. So there'll be some resistance. Sometimes even when you ask for something, there's a little bit of a resistance. Think about how you feel when you went to your job and asked for an increase in your salary. You might have gone into your manager's door or wherever with the fear that they're going to say no, with the fear that you're going to be yelled at, with the fear if they say, well, if you don't want to work for this amount of money, we'll hire someone else. And what we don't realize is that energy of fear makes it turn out awful. If I just go in with the feeling, I've given 10 years of my life to this company. I love this company. I want to see it thrive. I've seen it thrive. I think I deserve a raise. And you go in with that energy of assertiveness. It comes with such a goodness of your honesty with yourself that you have worked on, that more than likely it'll be okay. So that's why, yes, there is a practice here, Zora. We've got to keep practicing this kind of a comfort with yourself, to be at ease with you, to be all right with ourselves. It's so big, to just be okay with you. It takes some time. It really does. So where can we get that meditation? Ade, play it back. Play it back on your YouTube. But I think you can, Santosh can suggest it because it's on our Brahma Kumari stuff. So what about sanskars, perception, acceptance level of a person in front of me as Smita? Asmita, we've come to learn that every person is operating on their own frequency. And even though we can sense where someone might be, I can't make where they are more important than where I need to be. Got that? So even though their vibrations, their thought processes, their drama, their karma is their own, and they're living with me in the same house, I gotta find a way that I don't let this be me, that it doesn't impose itself on me. And what I've noticed is that when I begin to pick up the energy of the people in the house, my thoughts, my eyes included, has looked at them, or maybe even through them, in a way that has a limited experience about them. I've picked up a limitation in their energetic field, and now I'm affected. So to be protected from that, stay so focused on what you have to do. And I'll tell you this, the drama and the energy will try to push their energy in you, because they're like experts at their energy. There's some people who are an expert at being who they are. And while you're trying to do the work, Asmita, we haven't really gotten into the comfort yet of the powerful you that you know you can be, or we all can be. So we're subject to be affected by their expertise. So don't get caught up too much on their stuff. You understand this is their nature, this is what they're about, but find where your passion is, your interests are, and be assertive where that is concerned, whether it's cooking, cleaning, taking care of the family, working on IT, designing your own business, coming up with a new idea, working out, taking care of yourself. What is your passion? Be very assertive when it comes on to that, because we're really moving towards a time we really need to start to take care, more care of ourselves, without a doubt. Okay, so Zora's asking, how do you handle those parts of you that you're not comfortable with as you're digging deep and practice? You do. You have to. Because there's nothing wrong with you or me or any of us not being like a deity or an angel. There's nothing wrong with that. The fact that we identify that we weren't our best, I think that's big. And I think when we enter into an uncomfortable place, I think there's something so beautiful in that too, because you start to think through a particular part of you that perhaps you wouldn't have seen before. So when you do get to that place within you that's uncomfortable, that means there's some room for major changes. And that discomfort is actually your signal. Something's about to give. Something huge is about to open up for you. So welcome sometimes the discomfort. So Asmita says, I'm going to try to stay in my penthouse. Good. Stay up there, Asmita. I'll tell you, it's always easy for those on the first, second, and third floor to try to say, come, let me show you where I'm living, you know? And you're like, yeah, I've been there. I don't know if I want to go back down there, so it's like that. All right, so I hope that that answered a lot of your questions tonight. I do know we want to be ourselves, but there's still like a complexity with my very human side. There's still a part of us that we're still struggling. We're struggling with being our best. And we're still attached to a part of us that isn't. And so the struggle comes from, I know there's more to me. I see it, I feel it, but there's a big chunk of me still trapped in something old. And the people in my life remind me of my old, and the world reminds me of the old, and even the vibration in my house reminds me of the old me. But when I turn on spiritual vaccine, I go, there's got to be more to me than this. Or when you just have a moment, you might be in the garden and you see a perfect flower, and somehow it triggers a thought in you and you're like, it's me. Or you hear a song and that song triggers something in you. And that's where I ask you, be positively assertive in believing in that part of you that's greater, which has a very deep connection to God's love and God's purity. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. And it's really, I don't know about all of you, but it's really just a need to really, we might say, go back to basics, but if you humble yourself, it's a completely different person that comes out of you. It's just a different person. That person is gentle, soft, kind, generous, thoughtful, wise. And when that person speaks, it's a kind of a assertiveness in which people will hear. They will listen. Anyway, keep up with your assignment on yourself and don't let go of that. You're too important to you and to all the people in your life that love you. You're so important to God. Without you in the story will be incomplete. The drama would be incomplete. What amazes me is that we're much more beautiful than what we see in the mirror. There's a spark, there's a sweetness, a purity that's just ready to shine. We just have to get out of the way and be assertive enough to let it shine and reveal itself to the world. All right. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and every night. And for those of you who've been sharing because you care, thank you. Really appreciate that. It's been not only healing for all of us that's been a part of this journey with you, it's been humbling too, to join you every night from Baba's living room, to just have a heart-to-heart chit-chat, not a class, not a lecture, just to be together, you know, and just sort life out together, just together. And I feel that that's what this pandemic has done for us. It's asking us to really not get back to a basics, but it's asking us to move forward into a truth, you know, a real true version of ourselves. And I hope that you've been feeling that as we've been on our journey together. Okay. Please get something good to eat. What did you make tonight, Santosh? Russ, what did you make? Oh, Santosh has been cooking like a grandmama. He made sambar today and quinoa. We've been having quinoa for how long now? 4 months. I'm so quinoa'd out, everyone. But for health reasons, it's been good for us. But today, brother made some sambar. You've got to get his recipe. It was the best. So I wish I had a little bit to give you. So just open up and I'll just feed you some nice, some subtle sambar today. But it really came out pretty good. And just to let you know, Sister Geeta is sitting here on the sofa. Happy's lying next to her, snoring away. Sister Antonia is working in the other room on some programs, and Santosh is here, and me, and the roses from Bonnie Meyer, author of Perfectly Paired, they're still surviving and living. I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, have a lovely night and many, many blessings to each and every one of you by name. I wish you well and much love. Om Shanti.